mayor's absence today, I'll chair the meeting. So I'll call this meeting of the JLDC board to order at 5:31. Okay. We have quite a bit on the agenda. So we have our first, we have three presentations. We have the YWCA, if you want to introduce who's here.
Sure. So with us tonight we have three organizations who will be giving presentations on their ARP application for the Nonprofit Assistance Program. Tonight with us we have Amanda Gessing from the YWCA. She is the Executive Director. We also have Mr. John Babers from Jamestown YMCA, and also present with us is Patrick Samarlo of Children's Collaborative Solutions. And first I would like to invite Amanda to speak about her ARPA presentation.
I'm going to have Christy Trinello join me as well. So thank you guys. My name is Amanda Giesing. I'm the Executive Director of the YWCA Jamestown. For those of you who don't know what the YWCA Jamestown does, we are dedicated to eliminating racism and empowering women and promoting peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all. And so in our ARPA application, we talk about a new program, which is the Young Women's Choosing Action. So if you want to go ahead, Christy, I'll have Christy kind of get us started since she was the brains behind the thing. And while she's doing that, I'm going to pass out a little handout for you guys.
Thank you. So thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. We're really excited with this potential opportunity, especially what it can mean to the young women in our area here in Jamestown. The Young Women Choosing Action program is developed by YWCA USA, and it has been proven and rolled out through several other YWCAs across the country with very positive responses. It is a gender and culturally responsive program that also can make sure that the information is provided in a trauma-informed manner. So we just have some highlights here on the page that we've handed out. What is Young Women Choosing Action? It is a positive youth development program, and what makes a positive youth development program a little different is that it's not just prevention, it's making sure that we're building in opportunities and support. So making youth actors and then the adults as supports to ensure that now they feel that they're empowered to go ahead and have choices in their actions. It's a 13-week program. Each session is 2 to 3 hours long, and we're aiming to have 5 to 10 in a cohort at a time. Each cohort it will be 4 cohorts across a 1-year period. And most important is that we're offering a safe, trauma-informed environment with 2 highly skilled facilitators that we do have through the YWCA. We do have facilitators currently on staff through our chat program, and they would be able to impart their knowledge to the new hires that will come on board with this program. And so who are we talking about when we're talking about the young women in this program? It is Jamestown area adolescents, female and female identified individuals who are between the ages of 13 and 18 years old, primarily low income. We're going to focus on minority youth. And it's not the individuals that are in our National Honor Society. These are girls who maybe are the quiet ones in the back of the classroom, or maybe they're the ones that are maybe a little disruptive, but show some leadership potential and also have the passion to kind of get involved in their community. And I think what's most important is the reason why we're bringing this program to the forefront right now is that unfortunately, you know in this area, poverty is a little bit higher than we would like it to be, and this is going to provide an opportunity for individuals to really take advantage of community connections and having their voice in healthy choices in decision making. So yeah, but most importantly is that it comes at a time where we're 3 years past COVID, and the effects are now really starting to be understood in terms of the impact that that has had. And so there's a great need
we talk a lot about how this will offer leadership training for the individuals participating. They're gonna be able to learn cooperative learning opportunities, develop a project, and then actually do an advocacy project within that. So we're hoping that through this project, and the way it works at other YWCA USAs, is that the girls will develop a project that they think needs to change in the community, and then they're going to meet with you. They're gonna meet with the local leaders, they're gonna meet with local community members and help instill why they think that change needs to happen, figure out what they can do to help make that change happen, and then maybe employ the leaders to make some changes as well. And so the goal of this is to help young women connect passion with paycheck. So a part of this is embedded as an internship opportunity. Selfishly for the YWCA, we need future workforce. There's one day going to have to be another executive director of the YWCA, and this is one way for us to build a collective of young women who are passionate about community change, about equity, and about developing change in the community and giving them the opportunity to do that at a young age. When you look at who the target demographic is of the students attending, that's kids like me, right? I didn't grow up here, but I was a kid who didn't. My family didn't graduate high school. I was the first person in my family to go to college. I would have not been the kid that someone in my class would have said like, oh, she's a leader. She should be a leader. I would have not been that kid. I would have been the kid that they said, oh, she's disruptive. She's a little loud. She's unfocused or whatever it is that they would have said about me. And until someone saw that leadership potential in me, until someone was willing to give me that opportunity, I would have never known I had that potential. We have a lot of young women in our community who have that leadership potential, but it's overlooked. And it's overlooked because they don't fit the typical mold. And our goal is to reach those students and to help them have an opportunity to develop that leadership skill and learn from individuals and women who are powerful and doing that work now, and they can really help them shape that leadership. And so when you're talking about the benefits of this program, it's gonna benefit 20-fold, right? So it's gonna benefit our organization because it's going to help us go from hiring 65 individuals to having 2 more individuals on our staff, right? So it's gonna help us hire right now individuals to help us serve these young women. It's gonna help us build our workforce. If you think about our 65 employees, we have employees that we need in childcare and housing and day-to-day interactions in our front office, and we always need those individuals. And so this will help us train our future workforce, but it'll also help us train the future workforce of other nonprofits. And we all know how resource-rich and nonprofit-rich Jamestown area is, and so they will be working at those nonprofits as well. But it's really about that beyond prevention. It's about increasing their resiliency skills and helping young girls thrive, helping them find their voice and using their voice, understanding what healthy relationships are, understanding how they have a choice in developing those healthy relationships. Strengthening their connection to the community through that interaction with the current leaders. They're going to build a connection for the community. They're going to learn that you guys do care about what they care about. They're going to learn that you do want to make change. And they may actually learn that maybe they want to vote when they turn 18. Maybe they want to run for something when they turn 22 or whatever. And they're not going to have that idea unless they get to interact with people in that sense. So. And we want these youth to feel invested in the community and know that the community is investing in them and want to make a difference. These are the girls that are going to stay in our community. They care about the community. We want to give them an outlet to help make it what they want it to be. It's also going to benefit the community because as they develop those changes, they're going to be able to go to the leaders and let you guys know what their peers think is important, what their peers think needs to be changed in our community, and really kind of be that connection between our community and leadership, whether it's at the school level, the community level, the county level, whatever that level is, that they decide that they want to make that change. They're going to be able to bring their voice and their peers' voice to those leaders to help enact that change. So on here we talk a lot about the information. I know in our rubric it did mention the lack of effect that COVID had on our organization. I think similar to the youth. During COVID, organizationally, we had a lot of resources thrown at us. There was a lot of things coming our way to help nonprofits survive, whether that was state or federal funding. It was there and it was great. sometimes it was even hard to keep up with it, because there's so many opportunities. But the reality is that's dried up now, right? So our COVID impacts lasted longer than the immediate year of COVID, or the immediate year right after COVID. We're seeing those impacts now, because people that donate typically have less money to donate. The cost of everything is going up, they have to make tough choices, and unfortunately, when you have to make those tough choices, donating to an organization might fall off you may do a little less of that. And so similar to, it'll be a long time until you know the effects of COVID for the girls that we're working with, it's this kind of the same thing organizationally. So we don't exactly know what our COVID impacts are. So I don't know, does anyone, am I allowed to ask, anyone has any questions?
Sure.
Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions?
Are you giving us the amount of their asks, or?
Oh, was that in the packet? I'm sorry, I could tell you that. We asked for,
It's not in the,
It's not
is that in here?
it was in the email.
Oh, it's in the email. Our total 3-year request is $145,714, and we do have a broken down budget for project year 1, project year 2, and project year 3. So project year 1 is $66,277, and then it increases from there. So, and I can give everybody copies of the budget if they would like. The vast majority of that budget is staff for the project, because we would be increasing our staff by 1 full-time, 1 part-time. And then a lot of it is contractual, so that we can contract out with people that are already providing resources like mindfulness training and yoga, qigong classes, things like that, so that the students would have that opportunity to participate in those. So it won't just be employing staff, we'll actually be contracting out with individuals. So the money will be we'll share the wealth. And then the other expenses are related to just operational expenses and programmatic expenses. So there's travel, there's incentives for the youth, food and snacks, and then the operational of telephone, utilities, and those kinds of things. And it's just a small pie of what the entire organization is. The way that we work is that each program takes a small slice of the operational expenses in relation to how much the budget is and how much time programmatically they take of that operation. That's a good question. I didn't realize you guys had any questions. Sorry.
Yeah, we don't have any of that information, so, yeah. We don't have.
No,
we don't
this
have
was
any.
just the presentation.
Yeah.
There's no voting tonight.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Right.
just the presentation.
But it'd be interesting
Things
to
we
know
don't
how
watch.
much.
I have it written down right now. Send the board
Yeah.
the budget with requested funding, so I'll do that tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and does anyone have any other questions? I'm really happy to show you the budget if anyone has any budgetary questions. I'll discuss the budget in detail if anyone has any other questions. I don't want to take up too much time, but
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Amanda.
Thank you.
And we have Jamestown YMCA.
Um,
That's here.
oh, sorry.
Oh, thank you.
Next, I would like to invite John Barber, VP of Operations from the Jamestown YMCA.
Okay, thank you, and I'm joined with Tom Benson. He's on, and I guess I should just make sure to ask, because have you been able to see our proposal and see?
We've not seen any of the proposals. All we have is
Okay.
the rubric.
Okay, so, because that'll probably, I want to make sure to give some background, because I was hoping to just supplement kind of what we're doing, but we've submitted a proposal, and many of you have certainly seen that the YMCA has an endeavor to build a new YMCA facility. And the reasons for that are pretty simple. If you've been to the YMCA, a short walk around the space will tell you pretty quickly that the space has aged. In fact, you can walk and see the cornerstone and see that the building was built in 1929. So, we're approaching a 100-year-old building. And so, in our proposal to the city, we actually see it as a really unique opportunity during a unique time for the city and the community to make an investment that actually could propel the YMCA, which we have roots going back to 1858. And think about that. An organization, I've been working for the Y for 15 years. Tom's been a member of the Y for longer.
Since
than-
1853?
for
60.
long, 60 years. And so the YMCA stood, and if you think about what the YMCA has stood through during that time, you've got Civil War, World War I, World War II, Great Depression. recessions, heavy inflation periods. The YMCA has lived through these periods, and now most recently we've lived through this pandemic. And the pandemic definitely affected us. We literally needed to close portions of what we did. Our fitness centers closed. We saw our membership reduced. But the real secret, though, about the YMCA got revealed during the pandemic, because when fitness centers had to close, guess who was still there with open programming? The YMCA. The YMCA was there with open programming because even though fitness centers it's an aspect of what we do, and we have fitness centers that are there, and I think they do support community health, and certainly argue for that, but the why was so much more because we were still there providing emergency and essential child care in our facilities. We were providing meals. We were delivering meals. We were changing even some things that we did in order to be able to meet community needs during that time. And so, well, many places were actually shut down. There was many of our staff who actually, they worked through the entire pandemic. Why? Because the community still needed the Y. And so the why is just so much more. But then our fitness centers, of course, are a critical part of how we support our community impact and that community impact work. And so our proposal, we've actually asked for $1 million, and it's to support our endeavor to build a new YMCA. And in 1929, the community came together to build a new YMCA. That's literally what happened. They came together to build a new Y, and that effort actually, you can look up the block, and that investment, the dollars that they spent through businesses, individuals, you can look and you can see it, and it's there. And as I stand with you here today, I think there's an invitation there was an unusual pandemic that brought unusual challenges to our town, and it also has brought in unprecedented funds to be able to make sure we're prepared for the next crisis that meets our community. And we're actually asking for an unprecedented investment in some ways into something that when or if and as challenges face our community, the Y will be there. We'll be there for the next 100 years. I wanted to refresh. Tom's going to speak to you about some of the challenges that we're facing, but a lot of people don't know some of the impacts that the Y's have. This is 2022. We just have some updated numbers. 634 children are in after-school, summer day camps, special family events. 199 teens participate in our Teen Center, a free after-school program located in the Y. 223 children worked with volunteer coaches in youth basketball leagues. 102 children were enrolled in a summer learning program aimed at narrowing the academic achievement gap. 53% of our members actually have a subsidized membership of some sort, whether it's through income-based pricing, veteran benefits, or an insurance program. Our meal programs that work throughout the city during 2022 served 1,300 different youth, over 67,000 meals, and over 12,000 snacks at 24 locations. That's the work of the Y, or a portion of the work in 2022. And right now, today, I can tell you that our aquatics program is offering aquatic safety day to up to 50 classrooms for a one-day program to 5 different elementary schools to learn how to be safe around water. Our wellness programming is planning a Walk With Ease program and a blood pressure prevention program that's highly accessible to community members, actually going to be provided in the community to folks that are dealing potentially with arthritis or have been diagnosed with high blood pressure. We've just begun a recent partnership with the Resource Center for their day programs to actually come and utilize the Y every Monday morning, which means that a population that actually is at risk of certain health factors actually now have access to our pools, our group exercise, and our fitness every single week. And so we're coming to you kind of with a large program, but it's also something that could have a long-lasting effect. And I'd like, Tom, maybe you can speak, you're chairing our...
Sure. Excuse me. So this is a $30 million project, give or take. And we've been working on it now for, I guess, over 2 years. committed funds from local foundations and regional foundations of about $4 million. We've gone to the state twice through the CFA program. The first time we went, it was early on. We didn't really think we were going to get any traction, and we didn't. But we wanted to get on the radar screen. Previously to that, we had met with state officials 2 or 3 times talking about the project. They're very familiar with Jamestown. They were very involved with the National County Center project. They like the project very much. They want to be able to fund the project. But they said you have to come back when you have more, you have something in the bag to show us that there's local commitment to the project. So when we went back the second time, we did have the commitment from the foundations in there, but we had no commitment from the city. And basically what the state said at that point, and it was reflected in their turning down of the application, was with no city skin in the game, it's very difficult for the state process to approve this. It's not a Western New York thing. It goes through the whole state, Albany, New York City, and basically with no commitment of any of the ARPA funds into the project, the state rejected our application. Again, didn't reduce it. We asked for 5 point something million. They said 0. So that put us back to where we are now. And raising $30 million is a process where you have to be able to point to a success to the next place, to the next place, to the next place. And it's great to say we have $4 million of commitment from the local foundations, which is a lot. It's a big number. But we have 3 or 4 other sources of funding lined up, but we have to be able to go back to them and say, now we've got the city commitment, not just with a letter, but with skin in the game. Go back to the state, try to get the state to commit. Then we have new market tax credits, then we have tax-free bond issuance, then we have, the Wilson Foundation who told us to come back when we had more commitment. We're going to be doing a local fundraising campaign. We've asked the federal government for $2 million through the earmark program. So we've got this pyramid of funding that all can add up to what we need, but we have to do it step by step. And key to that right now, absolutely key to that right now, is for the city of Jamestown to step up and understand that this isn't $1 million. This equals a lot more than that. It equals the state's commitment probably, and it allows us to move forward. Because right now we're kind of stuck in the mud. And unless we can get some kind of impetus to move this thing to the next step, we're in trouble. And the other thing that's really important to understand is the clock is ticking on the existence of the Y. It's not a sustainable building. And the bailout money that was thankfully received was great, and it's keeping the place going. But there's going to come a time in the not too distant future where that Y is not going to be that Y anymore. And so every day that goes by that we're not moving the ball forward is risking, the future of that place. That everybody can have their own opinion as to how important it is, but for the future of this community and all the other stuff we're trying to do to bring young people back to this place, without a Y, especially a full-bodied Y like what we're talking about here, it just creates a big hurdle to that whole process. So hopefully, we can get the commitment to the city and get the ball rolling and move this thing forward and to allow us to leverage to the next bunch of steps, because it's crucial.
And so we've been able to see the benefit of us being with the Ys. We're able to see actually the impact that a new building can have on a YMCA organization in the city. One of our models, actually the model for our new facility, is based off the Lockport Y. When they built that Y, they saw over 5 times growth in their membership. Now imagine what 5 times growth in membership does for the kind of services that the YMCA provides in this community. Imagine what kind of thing that would do as membership starts to increase, and suddenly the Y actually has better sustainability, not around just membership and facility, but but actually around supporting its continuing ongoing work. Imagine how that benefits the city and the populations and the folks at risk for decades to come. You know, so that's what we're looking for. We're looking to do. I've been working with the Y for 15 years. I've started in my role just for a year that I've been in, but I started out working with teens. And the impact of the Y, you do not have to go very far. I can go around this room and I can see people that have been impacted by the Y. But I also can drive down the street. Today I was at an intersection. Crossing the street was a teen I worked with in the teen center. I just rolled down my window, said hello. But you know what he said to me? He didn't just say hello. He said, this is at an intersection. He says, hey, I'm starting at Cummins in a few days. Why does he say that to me? He says that to me because he was in our teen center where we help kids be ready to work. And he knows that the one thing that John from the Y would want to hear is how he was doing and some positive steps he was taking. Those kinds of things are happening every day with our staff and the things that they're doing, and it's around the city. And so, you know, as we ask for this investment, we're looking to invest in that for decades to come. So any questions?
I know I brought this up with Greg Edwards before, and I might have mentioned it to Mr. Benson as well, but what are the plans for the existing building now if you were to build a new Y? And also, second question is what's going to take place with your facility in Lakewood?
So, in terms of our current facility right now, we have HUD housing that's located there, and we do have a commitment with them for about 10, I think it's 12 years, actually, that we have a commitment there. So, any sale, we would be looking to sell the property most likely, but a sale may be contingent upon that investor being able to sustain HUD housing on the third and fourth floor, and then the other floors could be used for whatever they wanted. But in the building still has useful life to it. It has usefulness to some other entity. But what that entity would be, you know, we would find out kind of right now. That would be the open market is what would determine that. Now the Lakewood Y is we've not made any firm plans about the Lakewood Y. The Lakewood Y is a decision that has to do with how does it benefit our membership and its own sustainable future. How sustainable is it? We know though that the Lakewood Y provides some unique resources in the broader community that certainly provide benefits to those in Jamestown. We know that 40% of our users at the Lakewood Y actually are technically Jamestown members. So we know Jamestown is using the Lakewood Y. But it would be a decision that had to do with the sustainability of that location with its programming and how that would be affected. And we would be looking to consolidate some of what we do into a new facility, so that we may do a modified approach to how we offer things there.
The new facility wouldn't have courts.
Right.
So
No tennis courts.
tennis, gymnastics, all the other programming is
Yeah.
currently up there. A lot of that would not be at the new facility.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks.
it.
Thanks.
The third one we have is from Pat,
Yep, absolutely, thank you.
Collaborative Children's Solutions.
We are, I'm Pat Slovo from Collaborative Children's Solutions, thank you for having us. This is Jim McRaffey, is one of my, he's a board member with my wife. There's just the three of us, and we've done a bunch of stuff in the city as far as events and things go, Christmas parade, some things coming up, but we also provide opportunities for children, K to 21. Even young adults. So I just wanted to talk, in the proposal you'll see when you get it, it'll be, it's a $123,000 project that spans over 2.5 years. It's only that's not only, but of that 123, it's a $96,850 ask with the upper grant. We've secured $26,150 of outside funding to assist with the overall project over 2.5 years. One large sponsorship coming from a partner of ours, one of our signature sponsors in Southern Stock Federal Credit Union, is sponsored us for $20,000. John Felton is. So with the project in itself, it's a project that's based in downtown Jamestown. met with Keith Martin from the Northwest Arena. To be honest with you, I'm a Y guy. It's tough to sit here tonight. I'm a Y guy, definitely a YWCA guy. So I think that there are a ton of opportunities downtown for our youth. Jim and I and my wife, we've done a few projects. Most recently is prom dresses. I would have thought I was collecting prom dresses. I've been out of my mind. But we were able to distribute over 40 prom dresses to young girls that were able to go to the prom and things like that. We do a lot of those things. With our youth, I'm a school teacher. I have been in Jamestown for almost 29 years. Jim?
Licensed clinical social worker. I'm in private practice currently, but I've worked in Jamestown for many years, including as a school social worker and with a local not-for-profit. So very familiar with the mental health issues with our youth. And I also know that most of them don't go to treatment or go get help. And I think that was something out of one of our projects, the Chris Heron project, that kind of brought that out with a lot of the comments. Something we'd like to do is a little non-traditional, but not unlike what the Y is doing.
Yeah.
Bringing a group of kids together, more of a peer-led mental health / substance use group that's going to, if they have family members or kids involved or peers that they know, it's going to be kind of peer-run but overseen by us and some other professionals in the community. We're hoping to bring in like speakers from Chautauqua County Mental Health. Maybe these kids don't know there's a great counselor up here in this building, and this would be an opportunity for them to come speak to these kids about maybe a subject they're interested in, and it's good advertising for the Chautauqua County Mental Health.
Yeah.
We probably have some of the same group members that Amanda has.
Yeah.
And we have good connections with local school system and local businesses. We'd also like to get local businesses involved, get kids seeing some of these businesses, working with them in groups, have people, anybody in this room, come tell their stories that might be helpful to kids, and just basically working on giving kids some opportunities that they might not have in school because they might not be comfortable doing some of these things. This would be off campus.
Yeah.
And
the program, not to interrupt, but the program that Jim speaks of, Chris Heron. So we've been involved with 3 programs, nationally led programs, over the last couple of years. One being Chris Heron, who's a former college basketball player, NBA player, that lost everything to substances. He spoke at Jamestown High School in January of 2022. We also had him at JCC to speak to high schools there that came together. So far he's reached 13 out of 18 schools in Chautauqua County. We've raised and spent over $45,000 to run this programming, to bring him here, because Chris has a special message where he talks about the first day. Like he implements his story to the first day. As long as he scored 50 points a night, he was on his way to a major Division I university. Nobody asked why he went out and drank a case of beer at night, things like that. So he goes back to the kids of, why did you turn to substances? What led you there? Another national program that I've been very fortunate to work with is there's a gentleman named Harrison Phillips. He's currently a defensive tackle for the Minnesota Vikings. He used to be with the Buffalo Bills, and he has 3 organizations called Harrison's Playmakers that he offers opportunities to children and young adults with disabilities. He has a group in Omaha, Nebraska, where he's from. He has a group in Minneapolis. He has a group in Buffalo that he's agreed to expand into Jamestown in Chautauqua County for the walk. I did a charity walk for him last November, where I walked to meet him at the stadium. Harrison is a unique guy. He's if you looked at pro athletes, he's been in the league since 2018. He's a 2-time Walter Payton Man of the Year award winner. So that'll tell you something about his character. He still has a camp I was just on the phone with his board president today. He has a camp at the stadium in Buffalo that he keeps saying, Pat, I'll send you a bus, put your kids on the bus. We're gonna bring him to June 18th to the camp at Heimerich Stadium. So with that program and things through COVID, the programming for kids with disabilities, and now Special Olympics is happening. They've gone through a tragedy with the fire at Danielson Oil. Last couple of days I've been on the phone, last time with Bobby Gould. trying to get them some stuff because all the stuff for Special Olympics was stored in Jamestown Oil. So they've hit some road bumps, and Special Olympics has kind of gone a little regionally, so we've been trying to reel that in a little bit, and working with Harrison to offer these things. And the third one I'm really excited about is with John Felton. It's called Taste of Independence. It's a program for high school kids where it's the game of life, basically. And we've had, through the Chautauqua Safety Village, we've done it at JCC with Faulkner and Jamestown Individual Schools, where they come in and, what do you want to be? You want to be an electrician? Great. Here's your salary. And they literally go through, here's your rent, here's your, insurance and whatever. I think that the city of Jamestown is a perfect fit for that, because when I hand them that car insurance card and say your car insurance is this much, I now have Kurt Eimiller to come and tell them, or they can visit Kurt Eimiller's office and say, this is what car insurance really does. Jim speaks of businesses. I think there's a lot of kids in this city that have potential. I joke about it all the time with kids. The mayor of the city, the attorney of the city, who just poked their heads into Elliot was just poking his head in. We're students of mine. I'm that old. Where's my next mayor? Where's my next attorney? Where's my next comptroller? They're over there somewhere. Just to highlight a couple things with CCS. We don't have any salaries. If you look at that profit loss statement, I don't know if that was in there. My accountant doesn't like that too much. We've taken losses the last 2 years, which means that we've donated the money. It's a 2.5-year project that will carry on for into the future. There's no financial stress to the city. So what do I mean with that? I believe that our policemen and our firemen and our parks department workers are literally the best in the city we have right now. I'd like to take a policeman and make that connection in a friendly environment with children. And I don't have to pull a police officer off the street to do it. Now the funds to pay him to do that, if I have to pay an overtime bill or any event that we do with the city, now have the money to compensate the parks department for that. This has been public, but Jamestown has a 25% dropout rate. And when those stats come more post-COVID, there's a reason those kids aren't going to that building. We had, and it's not because of us, right? It's because there's a lot of stressors out there. We look to relieve some of that pressure from those stressors. When Chris Aaron spoke in January of 2022 at Jamestown High School, we weren't prepared for what came out of that. Letters from children that said, I know what he's talking about. I feel the same way. I live in that situation. We'd like to help some of those children. It's a comfortable living environment that we can give from school. If I told you right now that we were going to have a class in the basement of this building after work, and you're going to go spin a bike, or you don't want to be here. There's all kinds of stress here all day at work. It's the same thing over here. That after-school building is intimidating to them. They're not athletes. They're not musicians. They're not in clubs because people look past them. Now, can we take that in an environment like the Northwest Arena and create a fun and exciting environment for them, and then see what that stress is? Are you an artist? Okay. There's a Playhouse. There's Infinity. Do you like, do you want to work at a business? Let's go down to Crown Street. See what makes that business tick. I think that all sits in this city right here. How many of them have been in the National Comedy Center? We talk about that all the time. There's a worldwide jewel sitting right over on 2nd Street that they walk past every day. Why? The 25% dropout rate, there's probably 20 of us in this room right now. If 5 of us left here and didn't do much the next couple of weeks, that's not a big deal. If 75, 50 of them in 4 years walk out that door without that piece of paper, that's a big deal to the city. Collaborating with 3 national programs, we're able to utilize experts in this city. A lot of times we do this in education. I hate that we're both teachers, but we bring in experts from Los Angeles. There's an expert right there sitting at the end of that table. Pastor Fedor. He's an expert, he's sitting right there. Do I need a strong woman leader? Right there. Do I want a lady that knows the ins and outs of restaurant business and the struggles of it? She's right there. I think they're experts in the city to use and to utilize. Officer Conklin, a couple years ago, he was the police officer that was catching kids jumping out of a burning building. He was a grand marshal. He was a student of mine. He grew up with a bunch of brothers and sisters. He's an expert. He's an expert, he's a civil servant, he's a police officer. He's a friendly face. We work with parents, many of them that are working parents that had children pass because of opioid addiction, because they got hooked playing sports and they got an injury. They got hooked on opioids and they passed. That's a problem. That was the first day. Why on the first day that happened? I think there are great leaders at JHS. Tony coaches a bunch of them. They're on the board of education, peer leadership. I think there's an untapped market in peer leadership in this town. About getting kids involved downtown. I'll tell you a story about my son, and I'm gonna read this and I'm done with you. My son's a senior. He's getting ready to graduate. 4 years ago, when I was taking him to school all the time, this is kind of why I try to get involved in the city a little bit. We'd drive past his building, and he'd say, "Dad, why do you go there all the time?" And I said, "Well, the mayor was my student. I'm trying to help out." He said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you know what's in that building?" "Well, yeah, the police and the fire." "Do you know what a controller is? Do you know what the Department of Development is?" "No." "Well, that's what's in that building." There are kids walking around this town every day and night, all night, that don't know what this city has to offer. I'm gonna have to pass the torch to somebody because I don't have a ton of years left. I mean, that's my theory. When things happen, since we've done this for a couple years now, silly things happen at weird times. The day of the Christmas parade, when it was blowing 50 miles an hour, and my heart was right about here, and I'm on the phone with Dan Stone because he's chopping down the lines because the electric's falling out in the city. I'm in my kitchen, like we do. I'm having a meltdown. And my wife's like, "It's gonna be fine, relax." And my phone dings, and I got this. I said, "Hey coach, I just wanted to tell you that Maceo and I talk about our high school basketball days a lot. And every time we do, I always tell them that you were," I apologize for my voice, I'm an elementary PE teacher. This comes with the spring, they told me. "Every time I do, we always tell them that you were the best coach I ever had. I'll never forget they put me on the freshman team, even though I was better than those guys in the JV team. But from that first day of practice, you looked past the hoodlum they thought I was, and you saw how talented I was, and you gave me the opportunity I needed to start and play my style of the game. I'll never forget you told me that you're my Maceo. I've always wanted to tell you that small gesture made a huge impact in my life. Back then, nobody knew I didn't have parents. I had nobody. All I had was basketball. I had nobody to guide me, and for that 9th grade basketball season, you filled that role. A few years later, I joined the Army, and because I knew I could follow the discipline because I followed you. Anyways, I just wanted to thank you. I retired from the Army, and I made something of myself, and you played a huge role in that. So I just wanted to say thank you for being a good man, a good coach, and for caring about a young, troubled kid that nobody else did. Merry Christmas." I'd love to puff my chest out and say I knew who this kid was, that I like talked to him all the time. I coached the freshman basketball team in 1997. I haven't seen this kid since 1997. It just happened to be that way. Am I a hero? No. We make impacts in kids' lives in the silliest of things. Maybe it's a guy that shows them baseball cards, or a girl. I apologize. But those things hook kids in. And that's all we're looking to do, is hook them in to turn them around. That's it. So, any questions? No. It's like in college when they just want to go home.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I know you.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
Just for the record, he's had a good week because his son is the
He is
valedictorian.
the valedictorian.
Yes.
He doesn't know where the hamper is, but he's the
I
valedictorian.
saw him today. I said the good news is you're number one. The bad news is you gotta write a
speech and speak up first.
That's gonna be a problem.
He goes, yeah, I know.
Yeah, and I can't give it for him, I told you, and by the way, I said,
I was just saying,
I told you this was
You're
coming.
gonna write a speech for him?
No, he's on his own on this one.
I think you were valedictorian in your class.
I was 221 spots away from him.
I was going from the other direction.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, that's, then just for the record again, there are, what, 8 different nonprofits on the list. The 3 we heard from tonight. And the timetable, I guess, would be, we're looking to,
Probably June, so we'll have a
June.
second round of presentations in June.
right,
Between now and then, everyone will have an opportunity to see the full applications and ask any questions, and then we'll look to vote in June.
and then just also for the record, any of these amounts, even if they're approved here for over $100,000,
Correct.
they would then have to go to the June voting session for city council
Correct.
approval.
Yep.
Anything over $100,000 according to the JLDC bylaws.
Yeah.
Which
And
most of
city
these are
bylaws as well. Yep.
either over that or close to it, so. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
for-
you.
Thank you.
Thank
coming,
you
guys,
all
and
for
your
coming and
presentations.
presenting.
So I just wanna make sure they knew the time frame.
Pat, are you sticking around for the
Yes, I am.
other?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, and then we'll move on to our second item, the consideration for approval of the JLDC Board of Directors meeting minutes for April 19th. You get a chance to look at those? A
Other
motion?
than, yes,
Okay.
there's a misspelling on the first page.
They spelled my name wrong?
It's T-O-N-E-Y. T-O-N-E-Y?
Oh, again, you guys always screw me. Last month it was Dulce, down at the bottom.
Yep.
Tony,
Tony.
like money. except
Oh.
for the name.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
It's the second month in a row I have this spelled. here.
Now, that was 4 months ago.
All right, so moved. If that should be fixed, anything else? Have a motion to accept the minutes? So moved, second by Kim. All in favor?
Aye.
We went up. Item 3, consideration for approval of financial reports, April 2023. Any comment on those? Anybody have any questions or comments from staff on financial reports? If not, a motion to accept. So moved. Second
Second.
by Jeff. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Move on to number 4, consideration for approval of Southern Tier Builders Exchange ARPA Workforce Development Grant Program.
Thank you so much, Tony. First and foremost, I'd like to welcome back Mr. John Dewey. He is the Assistant Director of the Builders Exchange of the Southern Tier. They were here back in March to present their trade program, and I'll just give a brief recap for it for anybody who wasn't here. So we are requesting $500,000 to fund the Southern Tier Builders Exchange Pre-Apprenticeship Trade Program through NCCER, which is the National Center for Construction Education. And to go for the brief recap, the program is going to be operating here in Jamestown for high school students, college students, and young adults. And this is very advantageous because it targets 3 demographics of people and attempts to grow our workforce. And if you check out this fact sheet right here, this breaks down their courses, the program overview, objectives, and all that stuff. So if you take a look at the curriculum here, you will notice that the program introduces a training to a large variety of trades. And this is very advantageous because when they go throughout all the courses, not all of them are listed here, they will have exposure and dip their feet, if you will, into multiple trades. So they can get a very good lay of the landscape of what it's like to be in the trades, and from there they can make more informed decisions of which trade they'd like to participate in their career. And the overarching purpose of this program is to help establishing the pipeline for our workforce development. And upon graduation, students will have the opportunity with the foundational knowledge to go into the union to begin their apprenticeship, or they will have a strong foundation to pursue trade school at the next level. And some important updates for the Southern Tier Builder Exchanges program. They are currently in the candidate status for NCCER accreditation, and their instructors are going to be approved sometime in July and August, and following that timeline, they will be ready to hold classes in the fall of this year. And I'll turn it over to John Healy if you would like to add anything else.
Grace Summer, you're my new spokesman, thank you. Appreciate it. Just want to thank everybody for your time and support and consideration of this program. We think it's a great opportunity to train a lot of people, a lot of different skills and trades that they can take with them for the rest of their life. So just want to say thank you for having me back.
You done?
Also, I just want to say, I like new buildings, big new buildings, so I'm all about supporting the Y as well. I like to build things, so.
Any questions for me or Mr. Healy?
Have a motion to accept? So moved by Luke, second,
Second.
by Jeff, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so this is the total is 500,000 that we have for the street, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
The vote on this at council now?
Yes.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
you're
Yep.
gonna have to vote on it.
Yep.
Excuse me, only one. Putting on the agenda for new business, or are you waiting till next month?
No, we'll put it on for new business.
Please.
Yeah, if that's okay with you guys.
I don't care, I just, if you are, I would suggest sending like a little precursor to the rest of the membership,
So they know,
so they know what they're voting on.
Mhm.
Yep,
because it's a good chunk.
yeah.
Okay. I had a motion, everybody was good with, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And then the next one is consideration for approval of the second round ARPA Downtown Small Business Evolution Program grant.
Thank you, Tony. If you turn your attention to the spreadsheet here, this is the Downtown Small Business Evolution Award for the second round. We have a remainder of $35,000 that were left over from when the original ones were passed, back in October, I believe. So we are seeking approval of $35,000 for 5 grant awards located here. And first I will go with Know-How Beauty Aesthetics. So for their project, they are seeking a new cryoskin device that will allow Newbow to provide new services for their clientele. And they anticipate sales will increase by 20% with the addition of this new device they're able to acquire, which will allow them to offer a new service for their customers. Also, we have Lissandro's Restaurant. We would be allocating them $5,000 of evolution funding. And this funding will directly assist them with their new flooring and booths in their dining area for their customers. And currently, this funding would help retain 6 part-time jobs they currently have, and through the funding, they would like to add on 1 to 2 new part-time jobs. Then moving into Sandy's Bakery, we will be allocating $10,000 for them to acquire a new meatball machine. This will assist with their catering and their business operations, and this newer product will help them operate more efficiently in the future, which will help improve working conditions for their employees and will help them, when in doubt, serve customers more efficiently as
That
well.
make the meatballs?
Was it?
Makes the meatballs.
You mean they don't roll them by hand?
No.
I'm just.
I think they roll and they can cook it quicker. More subs.
I'm gonna tease anyways.
And then for them, they would be using funds to help retain 3 full-time jobs, then 5 part-time jobs would be retained. And with their ability to have more business capacity, they would like to bring on 2 more part-time jobs to assist in their workspace. Then moving into the Beer Snob, we would be allocating them $7,000 towards acquiring a new 3-door refrigeration unit that will assist them in their capabilities and service options. And specifically in their case as well, this would allow for them to offer to-go beverages, which will assist in generating more foot traffic to their business on less popular nights during the weekdays when they're not having concerts or events, to help attract more visitors in the weekdays. And for them, they would be retaining 2 full-time jobs and 9 part-time jobs. And then moving into art, cloth, and craft, we would be allocating them $5,000. This would go toward 3 new industrial sewing machines. And this would be very advantageous for their business as they can utilize it to help expand their products and service options. And this will help them manufacture more goods directly from their own business to serve their community. And the new machines will also help because they also are working with, they've been working together with Shop Art Gallery and sharing materials to provide art classes to the public, which have been occurring there. And for them, this would retain one part-time job, and they wish to hire one projected full-time job and 1 to 2 part-time jobs, as they will need new staff to help work with the new sewing machines to create more products for their store. And I will say, just due to the limited funding for $35,000 between the 5 businesses, we allocated these specific amounts to go toward helping them at least cover one item or one major point of focus in their application, so that everybody would get a good benefit from the program.
Many of them indicated to you that they won't do the whole thing because they only got part of it, or?
So in Beer Snob's case, we're giving them $7,000 for the refrigeration unit, but the other half they would have wanted for working capital. So we would have, in that scenario, just covered the new equipment they wanted. So.
Okay.
Mhm.
Was this the total of the number of people who applied?
We had 3 other applications as well.
And they didn't meet the criteria, or something was not correct in the
Mhm.
application?
And does this expend the fund?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's it, okay.
It's good to see some newer
Yeah.
businesses that have not applied for funding
I
before.
just wanted to see if there was any that were turned down, and if so, is there anything left, which this is it. Okay. Is there any other questions for us? Not, motion to accept, so moved by Kim, second. Second. Vicky, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, very good. We'll move on to new business, and we have 3 items of new business. Fund for downtown programming application received by Reg Lene, event, Centennial Summer Concert Series.
Yes, thank you. So this, request is for $21,160, and this will cover 3 concerts. 3 outdoor concerts. The Reg would be looking to, close down 3rd Street, and there will be June 17th, a female Led Zeppelin cover band. Yeah. July 9th, there will be an all-female hard rock band, from the 80s, Vixen, that sold over 1 million albums and had 4 songs on the Billboard's Top 100. And for the life of me, I have no idea who they are, and I feel like I should.
I remember.
Oh, good.
I remember that.
Yeah, the name sounds kind of familiar, but,
You're too young.
I don't know, yeah, just a little bit. And then, July 27th, their annual block party, and Uncle Ben's Remedy will be, the band, that they are hosting for that event. So this will help, with, booking all of 3 of the bands, and then some of the additional expenses with the, summer block party. Any questions?
Am I commingling council in this, but did they get funding for the block party?
No.
Okay.
No,
So
this
it's
would
something
be-
from council that I must be thinking of their permit or something?
Oh, probably their permit, yeah,
Okay.
they have
Just
been
wanna
working on
make
getting
sure.
all of their permits, so.
Any other questions? Motion?
Anyone wanna make a motion?
Someone by Vicky?
Okay,
Second?
that was good.
I second. Oh.
Second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Alright, opposed? Alright, move on to the next one. Fund for downtown programming application received by Ball Game Heroes event, trading card bills signing show.
Yeah. So, and I will just, before I turn it over to you folks, just let everyone know, this did come in as, a small business evolution application. And we felt like it better fit the Fund for Downtown programming, which allowed us to fund additional businesses through small business downtown evolution and potentially be able to fund this as well. So a little bit bigger, and this would give us the ability to fund more of their need versus have to try to cut them down along with the other businesses that they were competing with in the other category. With that, thank you.
Thank you.
You'll have to excuse our attire, we ran from the store straight here, sorry, we're
You
not
look
dressed
comfortable.
appropriately.
There's small business.
I
especially love your sneakers.
We're not as eloquent as the Y was and as Pat is.
Stop it.
We're actually gonna rewind to 2 years ago and let somebody a little bit more eloquent speak, if you don't mind.
Pardon my.
It'll be hard to
Just hold this.
hard to see, but.
I'll let you do this.
Okay.
Should we turn it? Would be easier for like picking up, you think?
Andre Reed, 2014 Pro Football Hall of Famer out here in sunny San Diego, California. It is Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day to everybody out there in Jamestown. No doubt about it. It's about our servicemen and women keeping us free and doing what it takes to make sure that we're safe. And we all need to commend them on a day like today, every Memorial Day. So big thank you to all the servicemen and women across the world doing it for us. So just want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for keeping us free. Anyway, ball games, heroes, sports cards, memorabilia. It's opening up. Grand opening is July 3rd, 501 West 3rd Street down here in Jamestown. If everybody doesn't realize this, maybe they don't know that the commissioner of the National Football League, Roger Goodell, is from Jamestown. So that's a big thing. So maybe he can come in there in the grand opening. He probably won't, but I would love to come down there someday to come to the card show. You know, come to the memorabilia shop and maybe sign some autographs, do some good things. So give me a shout out, you guys, when you can. Jamestown definitely deserves its own shop, and I've been down there a few times as a player, former player down there to Jamestown, great little town down there, past Fredonia. You know, Fredonia was the camp of the Bills for many, many years. We had great times up there, had some great fans that come support us there. Fredonia from Jamestown, not too far from there. So great memories in Fredonia, and met a lot of people from Jamestown. So big shout out to the Ball Game Heroes Sports Cards and Memorabilia Shop opening up again on July 3rd, day before the 4th of July. Yes, definitely. I got stuck there. Day before 4th of July. So let's make it a big bang for them coming up the day before on July 3rd. And look forward to seeing you guys. So again, Jamestown, New York, grand opening July 3rd, 501 West 3rd Street in Jamestown. Go Bills. What's happening?
So that's when we opened up. We're now across the street. We're in the building that the DMV's in. So we're on the other side where Medcare was. They're in the way back now. Andre and I have been talking on and off over the past couple of years, and finally this afternoon, as I was really pushing his agent for an answer because of this, we got a verbal commitment from him to come here on September 15th and 16th. It's Friday night, would be a VIP party at our store, and Saturday, a public signing, autograph signing and card show that we could, Jamestown Awning's gonna put a tent up in the parking lot if we get the permits for it. And that would be a 2-day event in order to bring people in from hopefully Warren, Fredonia, Buffalo, Erie, in order to support other hotels, restaurants, etc. We were able to get him to do it at 14,000. We had quoted 20. I was playing hardball with him at the risk of this all going south, but we did. I forgot to allocate any funds to be able to buy mini helmets, and jerseys ahead of time, because when you go to an autograph signing, some people need to be able to buy those things to have the signees sign items. If they don't have those things at home, most don't. So I need to be able to, or we need to be able to buy some stuff ahead of time so that people can buy more memorabilia type items. Friday night would be a VIP party, doing it in 2 waves so that we could have double the amount of people there. Probably a 3-hour event,
No, I have Pat's voice.
Teaching elementary PE.
So that would be also just getting some finger foods from Sandy's or Lena's Hotspot, and having people mingle with them for a few hours.
Yeah, so, yeah, like you said, it would be in 2 waves. We would do like an hour and a half break down, and then get on with my best friend Andre. Half an hour break in between, and then just do another session of signings, or it'd be like a one-on, like a personalized little get together. So it's really, really exciting. We're really looking forward to it. I don't know how much we're taking on a little bit more than we should too, I think, but I think we'll get there. But we're excited about it.
Yeah,
Is there any questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, we do cater, like we cater to the children and like the wise stories. For us, it was twofold. One, it was my favorite thing to do when I was a kid, and two, we have a monster 11-year-old who absolutely refuses to. He's actually out there.
He is out there.
He's on electronics right now, and the only way to peel him and his friends off from the electronics is cards. They love it. They go wild over opening packs or trading with each other and trying to get one over on each other. And I think that there's a lot of life lessons built into it, which is sensing when somebody's trying to take advantage of you, taking care of your stuff, saving for something big. We have a layaway program that we do for the young people, and we don't put anything extra on top, but it lets them learn how to start paying their bills on time before it actually hurts them later with credit scores.
I actually know an adult who comes in and searches through all your Yankee cards recently, so it's not just kids.
I talked to a high school student today who had a card graded by you recently. And was sent away, it was graded and came back
Really good.
valued at probably about $5,000. He's debating whether he should hold on to that card or sell in the future to buy his first automobile.
You just got it permit.
You just got a permit.
I told him to save the card and make his parents buy the card.
So excited.
Gavin's actually, Gavin's been with us for a year and a half.
Yeah.
He's one of our part-time people we have there. He's really awesome. We're very lucky to have him.
We really definitely try to focus on the kids. Like, we're having a trade night. I brought some flyers, but we're having a trade night this Saturday. No charge or anything. We just set up tables. The kids come and hang out 5 to 8. We just ask that younger ones have an adult with them, but any age is welcome. And they just kind of come, hang out, learn how to talk to each other, learn how to be in real life rather than on the technology, and learn about cards. So we brought some flyers for you guys.
They should have been broken down by, the budget should have been broken down. It hopefully will come in a little bit less because we were able to verbally agree to a lesser price point. I will need a little bit to be able to get the May helmets and jerseys, like I said, but hopefully.
Do you have a sense of what that number might be?
We'd like to spend like $3K total on that, so there should be some savings there.
And I don't know, I'm asking, but will that be for his traveling too? Because typically you have to pay for their appearance as well as their travel expenses.
Yeah, we also maybe get lucky and they may do it for 14 all said and done instead of having to pay for his rental car and airfare and hotel on top. So it may be significantly lower than what we quoted.
So maybe what we do is to prove it up to and then.
That's once we hear back from his agent a little more and she gives us more details,
And also from what I understand,
Sure, I didn't take these to school.
you guys are more or less kind of first timers. I know you did receive some money, ARPA funding before, but
yes, sir.
you're relatively new on coming to us for money, so.
And this is the first Fun for Downtown programming application we put in as well.
This is something we wanted to do a card show before we even opened our brick and mortar store. Something we've been talking about for several years now, so this is.
And I'm not
really
into
exciting.
cards, but I've stopped in a couple times just to try to support your business and have conversations with you. I know you told me that you work night shift at Cummins,
Yes,
correct?
yeah.
So you're working third
Yeah.
shift,
Yep.
and you're also running a business in
Yeah,
downtown
yeah,
Jamestown, which, you know,
Yep.
shows your solid commitment to
Sure.
your
Mary works part-time as well outside of there, and then handles the monster in the other room.
Is it,
So,
is it nights?
our hours are limited.
I apologize for
We're only
interrupting.
open-
He's also at every city event that I help with the city. He comes on his own time and donates his own time. He was at Christmas in July and stuff and set up like that. They're very vested in the community. And if you need more than what they do, and you get in a spot, I'm your first phone call.
Yeah, thank you. Our hours are limited. To be honest, we're only open like 28 hours a week, but it's, to your point, it's not that we don't care, it's that, we knew if we had quit our jobs that the business wouldn't have been able to make it if we were pulling out our car payments and mortgage payments. So doing it this way with limited hours, it lets the business continue to grow until it's on its own 2 feet.
That's the way to do it.
Good to note that you don't just sell cards, cause like Jeff, I'm not into cards, but I have purchased things from you
Yeah,
very often,
yeah,
so
yeah.
it's nice to find those jerseys not ordered through the mail,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
those sweatshirts not ordered through the mail, and support local, so.
We appreciate
Thank
that.
you. Any other questions?
Will there be a Jets player?
No, Tim.
I'll come get the
Aaron
honorary and put
Rodgers.
it right next to my Bruce Smith signed football.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I prize that possession.
We've got a motion, we've got to accept
So,
that, up to.
up to
Up to-
20,
Yep.
Just trying to get
the
the
29.5.
change to that.
Yeah.
Can we get that?
Do we need a second?
I did.
Second. Libby, all in favor, up to 29,000?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 29,500.
29.5.
29.5, yes.
Very good. And then the last one under new business is fund for downtown programming application received by Collaborative Children's Solutions, event 2023, Jamestown, New York Winter Festival. Go away, we don't want winter yet.
No, I don't either. I'm with you on that. Thank you again for having me. So the mayor, Mayor Sundquist had contacted me, what is it, May? Early part of the first of 2023 about the Winter Festival. And we chatted about it, and he thought it'd be a nice thing to add into all of the great things we already offer. And told him I would explore it. And I went and spoke with Dan Heitzenreiter from the Chamber, talked about doing it during doors open, and this is why you go and talk to people, you do your research. Because Dan said, that'd be great, Pat, but I actually want people in the stores then. It's a good point, we don't want them in the streets doing anything then. So he and Dan, all kudos to him, came back and said, Pat, the city owns the Christmas parade. We run the best Christmas parade in Western New York. People come here to do it. It's on the same weekend as Keith Martin's and the Nice Ice Arena's huge free hockey, 16-team hockey tournament. Do it during the day Saturday, and now we own the whole day. And now people will come here to stay over and eat in our restaurants and stuff like that. He's a genius, and he's right. So that's the proposal, is that the Winter Festival would happen from noon until 6 p.m., followed by the Christmas parade. Fingers crossed, no weather, fireworks off the parking ramp in Spring Street this year. The Winter Festival, the mayor and I have discussed it a little bit, Dan Stone and I have discussed it, want to put as least stress on the city workers as possible on that day. It's a big day for us. I'm into collaboration. I want to support other people. I'm working with Mickey Gertz a little bit through the Whirlybird, because that's the same weekend as Christmas, July. We're finding ways to support each other. I've reached out to Mickey and said, Mickey, can we do something with live music during the day on Tracy Plaza maybe, and close off Prendergast to Spring so that everybody's safe and we can have music on the plaza with people in the street with cornhole and games. We've looked at and investigated some sort of an outdoor skating rink. I'm learning more and more about skating from Keith, and there's actually synthetic rink, and Dan and I actually talked about constructing something on Tracy Plaza, and as long as we did it over the grass, so if it drained, wouldn't drain anywhere, but we could do synthetic and things like that. there are obviously outdoor activities, cornhole, ice sculptures, sidewalk sales for our downtown businesses, lunch specials and drink specials for our restaurants. Ball Game Heroes doing some things. I mean, those are the things to try to bring people downtown. And I would like to offer the building of some sort of a little Christmas village. I think that's an incredible project for the Jamestown High School Art Department. And also with the wood shop. And with guys, what can you make me? People have been whipping ideas. I mean, can the Vespers somehow perform that day somewhere on top of Tracy Plaza? I don't know the dates and things like that. But can we really turn Jamestown, New York on Saturday, December 2nd, the destination to be in Western New York? I think we can. That's the proposal. It would be in addition to funds that were already been allotted for St. Patrick's Day, Christmas in July, the Gus Macker and the Christmas Parade, an additional $15,000. That's what the proposal is, to own the day. Any questions? Yeah, and everything's, my friend, I don't know, he goes to, with his daughter, somewhere up by Syracuse, there's some skating thing, and they do a Charles Dickens Christmas. He goes and everybody's dressed like Charles Dickens or whatever. If you have a suggestion, roller skating, like that's the kind of stuff I'm looking for. So yeah, any, Pat, I saw this one time here, can we do this? I mean, those guys just do such a great job with decorating the city and stuff like that. I mean, we own that day. It's true. Questions, comments?
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, Dan, thank God I wouldn't talk to Dan. I mean,
He's the idea man.
he was right. I didn't even think of, I'm like, hey, doors open, man, I'm gonna pack this street. He's like, no, you're not. He goes, because then they're not gonna go spend money. I'm like, I never thought about that. That's why you're the guy, so.
Do I have a motion? Somebody like him, second, by Nikki. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried? Alright, good. That's all the items we have for new business. We do have Ray, other new business? Anything else, that's it?
Yeah, we've got executive session.
What do we have for executive session?
Two little applications that have come my way. One's coming, one's here. Just a couple businesses we have.
So just update?
Updates?
Yeah.
Super
And
fast.
then Elliot's got.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Got a motion to
Thank
go
you,
into
yes,
executive session.
thank you.
So moved.
So moved. Second.